In the past 15 years, a new form of communication has emerged which has transformed the way we interact. Within our families, within our friendships, within our places of employment and beyond, this brand new method of interpersonal connection is changing the way we express ourselves. It is changing the way we talk to and hear from our companions. It is changing the way we see each other. We call it social media. Social media is the overarching term used to denote the collection of internet tools which allow any individual to participate in mass communication. Many of the changes that have come as a result of social media could be perceived as positive. It allows us to keep updated on the lives of our friends and family who are far away. It allows us to reconnect with old friends. It allows us to make new friends in our area, and it helps us connect with people overseas who we never would have met otherwise. However, social media is so incredibly new, considering the lifetime of human communication, that it has many problems we have not yet figured out how to deal with. These issues need to be discussed in order to get a true picture of how it is affecting society. Three of the biggest problems with social media are the fact that it turns people into caricatures. It presents us with the highlight reels of our friends' lives, and it makes it seem as though the world is on fire. When you open up Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and you click on a friend's profile, what do you see? Do you see your friend with all of his or her crisscrossing character traits, flaws, strengths, doubts, beliefs, and passions? What you are more likely to see is a set of clippings, a sentence or two out of each of those chapters in your friend's life story. These days, we spend an incredible amount of time on our computers or looking at our cell phones. In too many cases, the vast majority of our interactions with some of our friends consist of us viewing what they have posted on social media. This gives us only a snapshot of their lives, leaving out a huge amount of their identities. When we see someone on social media, more than we relate with them in real life, our perception of them changes. We subconsciously reduce their complexity, mashing together all the little snapshots until we have created a simplistic avatar of their true self. In our mind, our friend becomes a caricature, a shallow depiction of their actual personage. This may not make us think badly of a person. In fact, it may give us a better opinion of them than we would have if we got to know them well. Either way, it certainly will not give us an accurate image of them. This just goes to show that such a phenomenon can do nothing good for a true and honest relationship. In the end, the caricature effect, as I call it, of social media will cause its users to know each other less and less. To me, it seems natural that this would have a negative effect on their communication. As I've said, when we log on to social media, we do not truly see people. The same principle applies when we are talking about the goings-on of people's lives. When a friend of ours posts a Facebook status, sends a tweet, or updates their Instagram story, they don't usually display content about mild difficulties or boring tasks. They don't usually share about sadness, pain, or psychological despair. These things come up sometimes, but for the most part, when we look at a person's life through the filter of social media, we get the highlight reel. This tendency for people to stick to happy life updates is natural. They don't want their friends to think their lives are boring. The problem is, when we look at these highlight reels of social media, we involuntarily compare our lives to it. However, when we make these comparisons, we don't use our own highlight reel. We take the good, the bad, and the ugly of our own life, and we compare it to the disproportionately positive snapshots and updates of our friends' lives. If we are not careful, this will lead us to think that our lives are abnormally boring and difficult. This cannot be good for our mental health at normal times, and if we are going through a stretch of monotony and low spirits, it will only make the problem worse. Too often, a lack of something meaningful and stimulating to pursue at the moment is what causes us to pick up our phones and check social media. A phenomenon like the highlight reel effect of social media will only exacerbate this feeling of lack. On the other side of the same coin, when we post our highlight reel, it can end up resulting in another type of negative feelings. If we only put the good stuff up for people to see, we will subconsciously feel as though we are lying to our friends. And when they give us positive responses, we will feel undeserving. Similar to how it changes our perception of our friends, social media can have a distorting effect on how we perceive the world. The proclivity for people to post the most exciting parts of their lives can be a part of this distortion, but it goes much further. When we are not seeing highlight reels, we are still seeing emotionally charged content. People talk about the most stimulating stuff that is happening in the world, such as disasters, violent events, and politics. The algorithms of social media make this even worse because they are designed to show people the things that they are most likely to interact with. Naturally, this means the websites are programmed to expose users to content that is emotionally stimulating. The longer you scroll through your newsfeed, the more money the social media giants will make. Therefore, whatever it takes to keep you there is acceptable. That's the logic. The combination of the highlight reels, the shocking news breaks, and the insidious algorithms create a lens between us and the world. When we view it through this lens, our perception of the world differs further and further from reality. It seems as though most people in the world are extremely divided, and even that they hate each other. It seems as though the population has lost their minds and the leaders are evil. It seems as though the very fabric of our society is hanging by a thread. When observed through the keyhole of social media, it seems very much as though the world is on fire. Human beings are social creatures. Even the most private and introverted people among us long for connection. Over the centuries, we have discovered and created countless different methods of achieving this desired connection. Social media is one of the newest and most revolutionary of these methods. It has the potential to bring us together in ways that have never before been possible. However, it is dangerous. There's lots of tips out there on how to use social media safely and effectively, but I don't think any of it has gone far enough. Social media reduces people to caricatures. It facilitates the highlight reel, lie depression cycle, and it makes it appear as though society is going up in flames. Think twice the next time you get the impulse to go to that familiar webpage or open that familiar app. It could be argued that if used in moderation and with great care, perhaps the benefits of social media could outweigh the dangers. I will leave you with this. In an interview with Axios, Chamath Palihapitiya, an early Facebook developer, made some statements about what he had learned during his time working there. He said, quote, "We have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. It is eroding the core foundations of how people behave by and between each other. You do not realize it, but you are being programmed. It was unintentional, but now you gotta decide how much you are willing to give up."